We'll stand.
Sergeant Barnes.
All right.
We'll introduce ourselves here real quick. I'm Brian Beach from Modesto.
I'm Joan Renee, and I'm a senior project manager from Sacramento, member of PMI. Sylvia Burke, marketing director with Esquivel Engineering. So now we're going to go ahead and start with a presentation, and I'll have a timer, so we'll give you 7 minutes to make it.
Do you want us to just start? We'll start time.
Yes, we'll go ahead and start. Go ahead.
Riley, Sabrina, we really need to get focused. We need to practice again.
Are you sure? We've gone through this so many times.
Guys, we need to know it inside and out. Carolyn's right. Let's do it just one more time.
Let's pretend like this is the real thing with real judges out there and everything.
Great, let's do it.
Okay, start the stopwatch. Go.
Hi, I'm Carolyn. Welcome to Aqua-Sol-Viente, a city developed to lead the way toward a more efficient and eco-friendly world.
Hi, I'm Riley. In 2112, an amazing idea became reality when city engineers and planners came together to create the ideal city on the coast of South Central California. Their goal was to create a people-friendly city that would rely completely on eco-friendly power sources and be carbon neutral.
Hi, I'm Sabrina. Our city was named Aqua-Sol-Viente, or Water, Sun, Wind, in honor of this goal. Now, in 2162, the city's 800,000 residents enjoy living in an all-inclusive, beautiful seaside community.
Aqua-Sol-Viente's waterfront location allowed our engineers to design a power generation system that relies on the untapped potential energy of the ocean.
Oceans cover over 70% of the Earth's surface. They are the world's largest collector and retainer of the sun's solar energy, and the wind over the ocean is stronger than wind over the land. In addition, power can be generated using the ocean's winds, waves, currents, and temperatures.
So with this in mind, our engineers devised a most unique power generation system they called RGGI, short for Renewable Energy Generation Island. Now, RGGIs are a series of man-made islands, 160 feet in diameter, anchored in the ocean. Each RGGI is covered with solar panels that both generate power and receive solar power transmitted by panel farm satellites and geosynchronous orbit. In addition, 4 massive telescopic wind turbines project from RGGI's protective dome, made of a transparent nanomaterial that also focuses the sun's rays. And during storms, these wind turbines can retract back into that dome to prevent any damage.
Tethered on the ocean floor directly below each RGGI are wave electricity generators, or WEGs. Waves move the blades of each WEG back and forth, turning a power turbine and generating an electrical current. WEGs are very sturdy and are programmed to lie flat on the ocean floor during storms to prevent damage.
RGGIs are connected to each other and Aqua-Sol-Viente via superconductive nanotubes, which transmit the power to underground substations located onshore. These virtually 100% efficient nanotubes are composed of individual carbon atoms bonded together in a tubular pattern, making them incredibly strong. Distribution to individual customers is accomplished via an underground grid of tunnels containing lines and substations that reduce the voltage to usable levels. The rest of our utilities, water, wastewater, gravity-powered sewer system, communications, and some transportation, also share this underground grid.
So each RGGI is quite reliable. However, the sources used are not consistently available. Even with an abundance of sun, water, and wind, backup systems are in place to ensure that our power supply always equals our demand. So how do we do this? Well, our main backup system revolves around 2 dual elevation reservoirs. Now, when there is an abundance of power, water from the lower reservoir is pumped to the upper reservoir. Then, when there is a shortage of power, that water is let down through generators, creating electricity. In addition, Aqua-Sol-Viente uses other completely renewable and eco-friendly power sources, including biomass and ocean thermal. And finally, our great engineers and scientists are continuously studying emerging technologies like fusion at our outstanding university and research institution.
Recycling containers are provided in every building, and recyclable material moves to centers via underground tubes. Garbage and solid waste that is not recyclable is converted into pellets through a process called torrefication. This process uses high temperatures to create an endothermic reaction, which changes the structural and chemical composition of biomass into biofuel pellets. These pellets burn like coal and produce carbon-neutral electricity.
The city's water comes from 2 sources, fresh water from our mountain streams and our underground desalination plant. Our water is desalinated through energy-efficient forward osmosis, a phenomenon that occurs when salt water is passed through a semi-permeable membrane and is combined with a solution consisting of ammonia and carbon dioxide. During operation, the water and the solution are separated, resulting in a continuous stream of fresh water. Residents practice water conservation as well. For example, we collect and reroute stormwater to irrigate our rooftop gardens, vertical farms, and green spaces.
So city services in Aqua-Sol-Viente have been carefully planned, for public transit is provided in the forms of driverless buses and an ultra-fast magnetic train. But it gets better because electric pod cars are available for short or long-term rentals. Also, public service centers combine both police and fire departments, which are closely connected to residential neighborhoods and business parks. Also, all citizens use a wireless earpiece that allows that user to access and use all of the city's services. And finally, health centers are conveniently located all over Aqua-Sol-Viente, and preventive health measures are encouraged, including free fitness centers.
Readily available organic food is provided locally in our vertical farms. This sustainable food production system consists of large skyscrapers, where each floor contains a variety of crops used to produce food. Soil is not needed to grow healthy plants. In our vertical farms, plants grow on concrete with a maze of holes drilled into the concrete to provide for proper root growth and development. The roots receive a constant flow of vitamin-enriched water. The vertical farms rely exclusively upon renewable energy sources. These farms eliminate pollution and produce more food per acre of land.
Virtually all disciplines of engineering were involved in making our city a reality. Applying the principles of science and mathematics, these engineers developed ingenious solutions to hundreds of technical problems. For example, mechanical engineers designed the wind turbines, wave generators, and other moving parts. Electrical engineers developed the most efficient way to convert kinetic energy into electricity and manage electrical current. Structural engineers specializing in ocean environments designed the body of Reggie and its other protective components.
So what is Aqua-Sol-Viente? Aqua-Sol-Viente is the perfect city of the future. With 100% of its power supplied by multiple eco-friendly sources, it is the ideal solution to our current dependence on fossil fuels. Energy will always be needed, no matter its form, and our city meets the needs of its citizens while leaving no negative impact on the environment.
Aqua-Sol-Viente, fueling our future for a better world. Stop. Wow, that felt good.
Yeah, I think we're ready.
No, guys, I think so too.
Well, no, just about, yeah. Excellent, that's 6.5 minutes. Yeah, 6:41. Yeah. Okay, so we'll go to the Q&A portion. So you want to start, Brian?
Sure. Along the central coast of California, there's a potential at some point for a tsunami wave to impact the coastline. I guess my question is, how does the wave farm account for that? And if that wave does come inland, is there any design within the city to account for that?
Well, in the city, all of our buildings are designed with special windows that allow for tsunamis to come without them actually breaking.
And the Reggie itself will not be damaged by any tsunami because our waves are able to lie flat on the ocean floor and stay on the ocean floor. And also the wind turbines are allowed to retract back into that protective dome, a very protective dome. And the Reggie is anchored on the ocean floor, so it would be able to wade in the water.
Also, for the possibility of earthquakes, all of our buildings are built on OTF, or organic terrain filler, which will absorb the shock of any earthquakes that come into our city.
And also this OTF would allow that building to stand still and would not damage the building or the base of the building if a tsunami was happening to come onto the city.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess it's my turn. One of the things I'm seeing here is that while you've got with each piece these protective designs to keep them from failing during catastrophes, there's always a risk that something will happen unforeseen. In that respect, where you need a backup source of energy, what have you designed into your city?
Well, in the case that the Reggie itself would be unable to produce enough energy for whatever the reason, we do have backup systems, many backup systems. Our main backup system, there are two dual elevation reservoirs. One on land, the traditional design that uses a lower and upper reservoir, but there's also an underwater reservoir.
This underwater reservoir incorporates brine instead of normal water because brine is denser than regular water, so there's more energy produced when the brine passes through the generators. And it is placed on the continental shelf, one at the upper part of it and one at the lower part of it. Now the lower reservoir is mainly just at the bottom of the ocean because brine is heavier than normal water. So it sits there, and when you need more energy, it is pulled up through generators to the upper reservoir and then released.
And we produce this brine. Brine is actually a byproduct off of our desalination plant. So it's all recycled and eco-friendly.
Sylvia?
What types of jobs are provided in your industrial and commercial zones?
Well, in our commercial zones, we have many software, high-educated buildings, including Adobe, Geotech, and Zynga. And all of these buildings are able to attract many different businesses and many great people to our city.
We also have our amazing university and research center. At our university, we encourage students to take engineering majors, so there are internships available at our research centers as well as at all the other businesses in town.
There are also jobs for maintenance and research done on Reggie, and also research in our vertical farms.
And also, we also have Mercer Foods, which uses our freshly grown local food from our vertical farms and freeze dries it and sells it as a product.
Yes.
And we are located on the East Pacific Rim, and we are the capital of trade, so business is flourishing in our city.
What challenges did you face when trying to come up with a scale? I see you use 1 inch is 50 feet for your model.
Well, we chose this because we wanted to properly show Reggie, as well as the mountain and our dual elevation reservoir and all of our buildings. As far as problems go, I think that Brad can think of that.
Okay. Well, it was a problem because we really wanted to get everything to be in scale. And doing that, we'd have this great building say, oh, this could definitely be our Adobe building. But wait, it's too big. We can't use it. It wouldn't make sense. So finding the right buildings to match what we're really trying to do was difficult. But it worked out.
And okay, why did you choose this location for your city?
Well, we chose this because it's aesthetically pleasing. It's along the coast, so there's beautiful beaches, and also our mountain is very pretty.
And also, this area is perfect for Reggie because we're on the coast, there are waves, there's always going to be, well, there will be sun, not always, and there's going to be wind. So it was a perfect place to really test out and try and use these new ways to harness eco-friendly power sources.
How was the work distributed among you three?
Well, at the beginning of this process, we met in the summer and we did a lot of research and we decided what we would want to incorporate in our city. And what we basically did is we wrote out a list of all the things that needed to be in our city, such as infrastructure, water, power sources, and things like that. And then we just chunked them up in little pieces and everyone researched it.
We really went off a quote from Henry Ford saying that nothing is particularly hard if you divide it into small jobs. We would come to groups, get a big project, split it off among ourselves, and then about a week later come together and just start nailing out points that we really wanted to include in our city. And we also went to MID, which is our local energy facility, and they taught us that planning for the future is very important in any city, and we really used that idea in Aqua-Sol-Viente.
With regard to transportation, it appears that the majority of it is underground. Do you provide transportation services such as buses or any surface transportation, if you will?
No, I'm really glad you asked that because we have our maglev train, which is very fast. It is underground, as you said, but it really only connects Aqua-Sol-Viente to other cities. But for on-ground commuting, we have our driverless buses, which go up to 80 miles per hour. They are computerized, they're very efficient, and they follow an underground magnetic wire that allows them to stay on track and on course.
We also have electric pod cars that you can rent when you need one at our pod stations.
Our motto in Aqua-Sol-Viente is basically to build up and not out, to not disturb the natural surroundings. So it is a very viable option to just walk in our city because all of our power lines are underground, so the aesthetic appeal is just phenomenal.
And to really get to a transportation, like let's say you really wanted to rent an electric pod car, you could use your wireless earpiece to call in on the reservation and say, I would really like to borrow or rent an electric pod car today, so it would be ready by the time you got there.
And you said driverless, I think I remember in your presentation you said driverless buses?
Yes, they are driverless because...
Can you explain that?
Yes, they're computerized and they're programmed to follow an underground magnetic wire that are wires that are located throughout the street. They run like normal buses. They would go from one district to another, and without the human error, they're very safe, they're efficient. They can travel up, like I said, to 80 miles per hour, so they're very efficient as well. And they're 100% electric vehicles.
Oh my goodness. No, I'm just thinking back to all the problems that we've ever had with underground electric vehicles.
They're not underground, they're above ground.
They're
Driverless
above
buses are-
ground.
Yeah.
They're above ground,
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
only the maglev train is underground for
Okay, and
transportation.
that's supposed to prevent accidents as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Because all the buses are on a specified route, there's no chance of any accidents because they're all computer programmed.
Okay, and that would include someone not looking, walking across the street?
Yes, they do have sensors, yes. The wireless earpiece enables you to, because it's hooked up to your brain and allows you to see your surroundings. So if a driverless bus was coming, it could sense your computer chip or your wireless earpiece and say, oh, maybe we should slow down so we don't have an accident.
Okay.
So you mentioned, excuse me, the earpiece. So is that something that is similar to a chip, and that's something that is on the individual forever, or how?
No, it resembles that of a modern day Bluetooth. It's smaller, it's more powerful, and what it really enables someone to do, it projects, thank you, a holographic screen in front of you, but it's a screen that only you can see, for it's not physically really there, but your brain sees it, and it allows you to go through different apps, which would say the public transit app, which would allow you to access all the public transit in the city, the fire department app, which would allow you to access the fire department, and so on.
And how would you transport goods to and from your city?
Well, our maglev train has special cargo trains that will import and export goods from other cities.
And also, when it gets there, when the maglev train gets to a certain position, because as I said, it doesn't run through the city, it goes on the outskirts. So we have designated driverless buses which act more like utility buses and are able to ship those goods to their destination in the city.
In the event there's a computer failure or a glitch, how is your city going to manage that?
May we have a moment to discuss this as a group, please? In the event that our driverless buses do fail, we do have our pod cars, as we said before, that run throughout the city, and there is an abundance of them, so people can rent pod cars. There's enough for every citizen to use a pod car.
Also, our buses are worked on every day and continuously, so there should be no computer errors.
And the software for these buses are continuously being researched upon, updated, and every night one bus would work for a day shift, and then towards the night it would be replaced by a bus that had been recharging and being checked on during the day to run for the night shift.
And then no matter how well a city is designed, there's always emergencies. And how have you designed to mitigate that risk so that you can respond? And that would be something like a fire or an accident or some other, even an attack, which is something that we've faced more and more these days.
Well, all of our citizens, as Riley said, has a wireless earpiece, which they can call the police department or the fire department very quickly, or even they just have to think, call the police. I'm getting attacked, I need help. And then for transportation to things like a hospital, we have our special driverless buses that are equipped with robots who can help a citizen if they are in dire need of emergency care.
And also, as we said, Aqua-Sol-Viente, it's really built up, not out. So if you were in trouble, it would take seconds before a team of rescuers could come and help you. And for attacks, the wireless earpieces, they do allow, when you walk into the boundaries of the city, you would be checked upon, or you would be like, are you a citizen of this city? They would know if you're a citizen, and then they'd let you go. But if you weren't a citizen, they would just check and see who you are, I mean, why you're coming, and then they'd let you go. It wouldn't be a problem. But this is for security reasons in case of an attack, terrorist attack.
Now you beg another question. How do you get people to use those earpieces? How do you, because apparently a lot of what you've designed is dependent on them doing that.
Well, it is optional. We can't force someone to do something, but not using this technology wouldn't be very wise, because it really allows everything to work better for you. Now, if you don't have the wireless earpiece, it would still work. It would still be safe in our city. Driverless buses would still be able to find you and still get to you.
Okay, and
I think that's time.